So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Manage Engine 80 Audit Plus's webinar series. I am Mark Lloyd, and I will be your host for today. Before we begin today's session, I'd like you all to do me a small favor. Please type in a yes or okay if you can hear my voice and see my screen clearly. This is just to ensure that nobody misses out on today's webinar. You can put in your responses in the comments or questions section. Thank you, Fawaz. Thank you, Michael. So without any further ado, let us dive straight into today's session. Today, we'd be looking at enhanced threat detection with machine learning and user behavior analytics, UBA. So we'd be talking about why is UBA needed, how does UBA work, how we can detect insider threats with user behavior analytics, how it works against compromised account lateral movement and malware attacks, and more. So to give you a brief introduction about me, I am Mark Lloyd on behalf of the marketing team and AD Solutions. I extend a warm welcome to all of you here today. I thank you for taking the time off to join us in exploring a tool like AD Audit Plus. All right. So what is user behavior analytics? Analytics has always been there. For example, your firewalls, they scan packets of data and other metadata. Your antivirus, they analyze your file systems for malware, malicious code. User behavior analytics, on the other hand, focuses on what the user is doing, what applications he launched, network activity, and also the most critical files accessed. UBA also analyzes patterns of usage that indicate unusual or anomalous behavior. Okay. Today, behavior analytics is used, or it is used to detect potential threats or potential incidents in the realm of cybersecurity. Let me give you a quick disclaimer that although UBA won't prevent hackers or insiders from getting into your system, it can quickly spot their work and minimize damage. Yeah, and why is this? It is because it works on the principle regardless of whether the activities are coming from a hacker, an insider, or even malware or processes. Yeah. So two key findings from the Verizon 2018 Data Breach Investigation Report are that 28% of all breaches involved internal actors, and 68% of all breaches took a month or longer to discover. Yeah, existing security solutions, they're predominantly designed to protect enterprises against external threats and not against your trusted employees. So by focusing on external threats, we enterprises often overlook rogue insiders abusing access, as well as attackers who have become very good at looking like ordinary employees once they're inside the corporate network. So here, this is where a UBA solution differs from traditional security tools. It focuses on the actual behavior of users. All right. So with existing security solutions, pouring huge volumes of false positives on a day-to-day basis, you are literally blinded by them. An actual security threat could go unnoticed. So the delay in detecting threats is because of these large number of false positives that your existing security solutions create. And this results in security professionals missing out on a crucial attack or a crucial alert in a haystack of insignificant warnings. So what a UBA solution does is that it reduces the number of false positives and buys ample time for you security professionals to focus on real indicators of compromise. Okay? So how does UBA work? First, it collects information on your users within your domain over extended periods of time. And over this period of time, it models a baseline of normal activities, which is specific to your individual users. Once this baseline is modeled, it then defines dynamic thresholds. And this is where our conventional security solutions are defeated by user behavior analytics. Dynamic thresholds, we generally set static thresholds. And what do I mean by that? For example, the account lockout policy could be 5 attempts, and that 5 attempts is a static threshold. 5 failed attempts. Yeah. On the other hand, the number of allowed failed attempts could be varied. This is just an example, but this is how dynamic thresholds work against static thresholds. So once your dynamic thresholds are set, and which is updated constantly, you find the deviation from the norm. A UBA solution would find the deviation and notify security personnel if any anomaly crops up. Once again, the whole process is repeated. Information is collected on an ongoing process. Your thresholds are updated continuously based on more recent, more relevant data, thereby keeping you away from unwanted, unnecessary false positives and helping you focus on what really matters. With a tool like Audit Plus, which focuses mostly on your Windows server environment, it collects logs from your domain controller, your member servers, your workstations, and from any other server within your Windows environment, such as your ADFS, your ADLDS, your file servers. So all of these logs are collected and processed, which is the first step. All of this information goes into the baseline detecting engine, wherein all the log data is processed, and that data is used to create a baseline of normal behavior, such as your normal logon activity, your normal file activity, administrative actions such as user management, and also process and other activities specific to each user are recorded and modeled. All right, so from here it goes into the anomaly detection engine. So incoming log data and baselines are compared to detect anomalies. Finally, you have your threat reports and alerts. You can get either notified via SMS, email, or you can view them as reports from within the tool's console. Let me give you a quick look at the tool. So this is where you land. You can also take a look. Just go to demo.auditplus.com. I'll share this with you so that you can have a quick on-hand Yeah. So this is where you can access the demo version, an online demo or virtual demo of the tool. You can also download the tool from here. It is a free 30-day trial. All right. Let me share this link with you. So as soon as I land on the tool's dashboard, I see my dashboard, which holds information of all daily activities occurring within my Active Directory environment, within my Windows Server environment. I have top account management activities over the past 7 days, logon failures, top groups, so security groups which have been modified recently, and users who've been locked out. So this gives me a brief idea of what's happening within my AD environment. I have my alerts, quick access to my alerts. Clicking on any particular alert brings up more details. And under my reports section, I have my Active Directory reports, reports for my Azure AD, wherein I have log on, log off, ADFS, user management. So you can see that all of this is in a very logical structure. I also have my file auditing reports, which allows me to get information across my Windows file servers, my clusters. Okay, so getting into your analytics reports, I hit analytics, and this is further split into anomalies. This summary, analytics summary, gives me a brief idea of top unusual activities, such as the first time a process is run on a particular server, the first time a remote access has occurred to a host, or somebody has remotely accessed a host for the first time, and unusual user management activity count. So all of this information is hyperlinked once again. Right? So this is just a bird's eye view. You have your anomalous logon activity, anomalous user management activity, processes and file activity. And you also have your normal behavior reports, which gives you an idea of all the normal activity which a user performs. Select activity, my modification. I do not have any file modification information there. All right, so my logon failures count between 12 a.m. and 1 a.m. is 11 failures. So all of this information is user specific only for Mark, and based on this normal baseline, when any anomaly occurs, you would receive an alert. All right. So why UBA is so successful? Why is user behavior analytics? Why does it have the upper hand over traditional security solutions? This is because human behavior is hard to mimic. Yeah. An attacker wouldn't know what time the user would normally log in or log off, which files he has access to, or which set of files he usually accesses on a regular basis. So as he tries to weave through your network, he is bound to create a lot of noise. He's going to create unwanted activity within your network that is not usual to your human user. And there are a lot of alerts that are going to show up Based on these alerts, you can act immediately to contain that particular threat or intruder. Yeah, you can stop him right in his tracks. All right. So how can user behavior analytics help secure your IT? It can help you detect malicious logons. It can help you detect lateral movement within your network, detect privilege abuse, data breaches, and detect if malware is being installed on your machines. So like I said, insiders are most overlooked by enterprises that are focusing on external attackers, external threats. But a survey by Security Intelligence says that 60% of all attacks are from insiders, and 15% of them are inadvertent actors, and 44.5 of your insiders are malicious of all attacks. All right. So let us say you have a rogue insider who tries to exfiltrate data, a disgruntled employee departing from the organization. He decides to exfiltrate data. He knows the location of critical documents, but decides to copy a handful of the most important files. So all this while he's being careful not to trigger your organization's alerting system because he knows the static thresholds. All right. So what could be the key indicator of compromise here? Unusual volume of file activity. All right. So I go here, anomalous file activity, go to my unusual volume of file activity over the last 6 months. All right. See that James stands out. And all of this information is hyperlinked once again for you. So clicking on the chart brings up information specific to James's account. And you can see that on the 21st of November, between 9 and 10 a.m., James has exceeded his normal count, his threshold. All right. So this breach could have gone undetected if not for a UBA solution in place. The solution knows how many files the user usually accesses. It sets a threshold, and when that threshold is exceeded, it shoots you an alert. All right. 6 months. All right. So similarly, you have file failure activity, unusual file activity time. Say a malicious insider tries to log into your network during unusual hours, during non-business hours. Again, your business hours and non-business hours are static thresholds. A person might log in between 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. on a regular basis. So this is modeled and defined as the normal behavior for user A, and whenever he deviates from that normal, say he logs in at 12 p.m. in the night, but this could be different for another user, say user B. His normal behavior is between 5 p.m. and 4 a.m. in the morning. So and this and say he his behavior changes gradually between uh, the user who used to log in between 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. gradually over period of time begins logging in between 1 p.m. and 9 p.m. So now the UBA solution would detect this change in behavior, model the baseline again, redefine its thresholds, and now when the user logs in even at 9 a.m., which is out of his normal behavior, you would get an alert. All right. You also get unusual volume of file deletion activity. Okay, let us assume another scenario. An attacker with stolen credentials, he wants to widen his control within your network. So what does he do? He uses remote desktop to gain remote access to other hosts on the network. All right. In this case, he knows that administrators typically check for high volume of failed logins. So he is careful not to cause many failed logins. So a key indicator of compromise is the first time remote access on a host. All right. So I go to my logon activity. First time remote access on a host. I select the host. Let me add or remove columns. So I find that an unusual remote access from adap-ws-ms, which is the domain, which is the server. Okay. So this helps you detect lateral movement. So another interesting statistic by cybrary.it is that 59% of attacks involve attempted lateral movement, and 36% of attacks use the victim primarily for island hopping. What is island hopping? Moving from one compromised machine to another. All right. So this way the user would access machines that he doesn't usually access. The first thing is establish a local privilege escalation, escalate privileges of programs to enable admin privileges, do some internal recon, harvest credentials on that local machine, and exploit additional machines. So move to new machines using remote desktop protocol. So here is where the UBA solution would shine. As the user account is the same, he would be trying to achieve lateral movement by using the same user account or different local accounts. And the first time a machine is accessed via RDP, you would receive an alert. All right. So here, the first time host accessed by a user is I have James, who has accessed ADAP-WS for the first time on the 28th of March. So this would throw an alert to me, and if I deem that as normal behavior, I could just let it flow, or I could look into it further. All right, let me quickly remind you that during the course of this session, if you have any questions or doubts, or if you want to know something very specific, please feel free to put them in the comment section. I would answer your questions for you. We also have a technical team with me who would be answering your questions today. So please feel free to put in any question that you have, okay? So moving further, so UBA versus malware attacks and more. So here is a quick list of the cyber attacks that have occurred during the year of 2017, one of IT's worst years. You have Spora, Crisis, WannaCry, yeah, the Dragonfly attack, you had Bad Rabbit. So all of these were based on malware. How does a UBA solution weigh up against this? Yeah. Let me give you a scenario. An employee, he clicks on a malicious link and immediately he downloads malware that encrypts data and starts spreading across your network, typically ransomware. So what is a key indicator of compromise? Is a new process on your host, an unusual process. Your existing solutions can only detect once the encryption has begun, but a UBA solution can tell you that a new process has been initiated even before the attack could be triggered. So I go to my anomalous process activity, I go to my new process on a server. In general, servers usually don't install new processes on a regular basis, so I have my ADAP-WS-MS, my domain name, which was the process. All right. I can also get alerted when an unusual volume of user management activity occurs. Or an unusual volume of account lockouts arise. Okay. So to give you 5 key functionalities out of the myriad of ones, it helps you trace your user footsteps, letting you gain insight into your user logon activity. It helps you troubleshoot account lockouts, detecting them instantly with real-time alerts. Helps you protect sensitive data across your Windows file servers, failover clusters, NetApp, and EMC. Helps you monitor privileged users, such as get a complete audit trail. It also helps you keep tabs on privileged group membership changes and actively respond to threats. For example, if you go to your alerts section here, view and modify alerts, I have a list of users who have been blacklisted. So any logon attempt from that computer would throw an alert. I can choose to get an email or SMS notification, or I can also automate an action such as executing a script that shuts down or disables the account. All right, how cool is that? To give you a brief recap of what we've been looking at today, um, we've been looking at why UBA is needed, how does it work, how it detects insider threats, how it can help you detect compromised account lateral movement, first time accesses on hosts, how it works against malware attacks. I gave you a quick overview of how the tool looks like. So what is AD Audit Plus? AD Audit Plus is a real-time change auditing solution that tracks changes to Windows AD objects, including users, groups, computers, GPOs, and OUs. It helps you monitor every user's log on and log off activity, including successful and failed logon attempts across your Windows network workstations. It can audit your file servers, failover clusters, NetApp EMCs, and document changes to files and folders. It can also help you monitor your system configuration, your program files, track changes to your Windows servers, and more. All right, so if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. I would be happy to answer them. All right, so I have a question from Fawaz. He asks me if is there any conflict while installing AD Audit with any other malware software? Absolutely not. There is no conflict because AD Audit Plus collects your security log data, all your information from your domain controllers, your servers, your clusters, your file servers, all of this, all of the logs from your security log are fetched by AD Audit Plus, and based on these logs, AD Audit Plus has already modeled a normal behavior for every individual user, and when there is a deviation from it, you would receive an alert. All right, so that pretty much brings us to the end of today's webinar. If you have any more questions or If you want to reach out to me, you can do so at mark.lloyd@manageengine.com. You can also get in touch with our support at auditplus.com, support@auditplus.com. As I said, please go through the online demo. You can also download 30-day free trials. Yeah, sure. I have another question. Is there a recording of this session? Yes. I can send you recorded sessions. All you got to do is just put in your email ID in the chat window, and I'd send it over to you. Yeah. Yeah, Fawaz, I've received yours. Okay, so I've received a few more requests. Definitely, I would send them over to you once the video recording is ready. All right, so thank you. Have a nice day. It's me, Mark Lloyd, signing off. Goodbye. I'd be available here for the next 5-10 more minutes to take your questions via chat.